Well, we're here tonight to look at a very different kind of subject to the usual IOD fair, and that's advertising, the creative industries. Now, our guest tonight is Sir John Hegarty, who is truly a legend of British and indeed of world advertising, who's been responsible for some of the greatest campaigns over the last 4 decades and has just published a book about creativity. It's a huge pleasure to have Sir John Hegarty with us tonight. He is genuinely one of the world's foremost creative advertising men, going back decades to the earliest years of Saatchi and Saatchi, but of course he's probably best known for founding Bartle Bogle Hegarty in 1982 with his partners John Bartle and Nigel Bogle. The agency has gone from strength to strength, been much talked about, and he has won many awards over the decades. So John, welcome, over to you.
Thank you very much. Well, wonderful to be here. I've never actually been into this building. I've driven past it about 1,000,000 times, never been into it. The thing that struck me as I walked in, and even in this room, you kind of think the people who built this really believed in big. So I think there's a bit of a lesson here for all of us, actually. Think big, you know, don't think small. Too many businesses think small. They don't have any ambition. This building seems to me, full of ambition. There is a debate out there. Is the age of unlimited growth over? What are we going to do about it? What's going to happen? Should we be getting used to this? And I'm standing here trying to get businesses to understand the employment of creativity, taking creativity into your business, getting you to think about how you could look and think about your products is one of the ways out of this conundrum. One of the things that creativity is, what it does, is it takes a number of known assets and reassembles them in a way that stimulates our imagination.
One of the things that I think businesses should and can take away from John's talk this evening is the importance of being brave, the importance to stick out from what is an awful lot of mediocrity.
What else can I do to protect myself, to protect my creativity, because I know that it's going to be copied?
What I would be inclined to do, if I was you, is to want to look at, have an idea behind the products you're saying, an idea that is disruptive, and then communicate that in a very, very distinctive way.
If you think back, what are the advertising campaigns that you weren't responsible for that you perhaps wish you had been responsible for?
How long have you got?
The one thing I've taken away from this evening that is, as a creative team, it's great to have friction between you because it just helps you bounce ideas off each other and grow more, and we're a creative team and that's something really interesting.
Coming up with an idea, a profound idea, is really, really very difficult. And in coming up with an idea, you want an element of friction. And if you look at, if you look at great writing partnerships, be it in music or whatever, they tend to be people who are sort of opposites in some shape or form. And that opposite creates a friction which generates ideas.
It's always interesting to hear what the creative industries are doing.
There's a famous quote in our industry which is 50% of my advertising is wasted, nobody can tell me which 50%, which actually is probably the most stupid thing ever said about advertising, because the man whoever said it, didn't understand the value of preaching to the masses. I always say that, when Christ stood on the mount, he preached to the masses, didn't he? He didn't get up on the mount and go, now, I'd just like to talk to people 18 to 24 with a disposable income of 30 shekels a week,
We admire John for surviving and changing, but holding on to his core beliefs successfully.
How much of your time is spent persuading management teams to buy the great idea over the good idea and persuading them to be perhaps braver than they would like?
The art of selling is now much harder to do in this global world. And getting people to agree on something, fine, okay. And that's why we end up with these meaningless pieces of communication that don't touch anybody. I think that's the great problem. Too much technology, not enough idea.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
is a really interesting group of people, really interesting speaker, and it's just an opportunity to take a step back from what you do day to day and hear somebody else's point of view.
I guess we came along tonight because our tutor recommended it to us. We were curious because we don't do a lot of talks outside of university, so it's good to see what's going on in the professional world.
Well, we've had a remarkably good evening with an extremely eclectic audience, people with very different kinds of backgrounds, but John Hegarty is a great creative figure, and he's taken us through many of his experiences and the ways that he thinks great advertising campaigns, creative campaigns can be made, and that's been a great boost to the IOD and brought some very different kinds of members in to the organisation.